Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 119. In today's episode, we are going to dive into 11 weird things that might start to happen to you before you meet your twin flame or before you are activated with this energy, or once you had met your twin flame and weird things starts to happen. And you can count from here how many weird things happened to you, have you experienced, and if there has been anything else that you have experienced while you have been activated and awakened with this beautiful love divine energy. Your twin flame changed your life forever. And the fact of that, if you're wondering why it did happen to you, it happened because your subconscious, your soul was ready for it. Yes, your mind was definitely not ready for it, but your subconscious, your soul was more than ready for it. And so was your twin flame. Even though today they might not want to hear any single word of that, they don't want to believe in it, and they try to keep in a distance, it doesn't mean that they didn't feel the electricity. And here it's just very important, and this also is a bit of a science here. I would say that you have been awakened with that energy, because if these things never happened to you before, and now all of a sudden they are happening to you, it's not an accident. Everything is an energy. And when your energy changes and shifts, you will see what starts to happen in reality. And then today I will bring it in a few things that you can start noticing what can happen to you when you have been activated with this divine energy. Right before we dive into that, I would just like to say that those who would like to discover more about them, you can of course head over to the twinflameawakeningjourney.com and see and get some peace for your own journey. We are going to have a Costa Rica retreat, and there is a one space available, so those who would like to balance the energies, become oneness into the union and connect with the higher self and with your truth, you have a chance to join us. You will get more information, or the links are in the description, so just go over there, twinflameawakeningjourney.com. So let's dive into what are these weird things that start to happen. And I would kind of invite you along today to take some notes or count how many of these things happen to you, and later on leave it in a comment. And if there are some other things that also happened to you that were so weird for you, but might be a very common thing for others, leave them in the comments, because we can read them in the next episodes. We can share them, because sometimes it feels on this journey that it only happens to me and no one else. At least that's what I remember from mine. So the first thing I would say, that when you start all of a sudden, now it can happen prior meeting your twin flame and during you have been on this separation and you have done some energy work. And that would be that the lights starts to go off, or blinking or flickering in the places that you enter. All of the lights have been fine, and the moment you're entering, the light starts blinking and flickering. It's again a very strong sign for you, because think of this, that everything is energy and you are generating energy. And while it can happen before, so that's why I say that try to remember, if this happened to you before you met your twin flame, that you were in the odd places and all of a sudden you enter, the light starts to flicker. Or when you think of your twin flame, try this one as well, that sometimes you go into the meditation or you connect, or I like the fact of me saying when you think of your twin flame. I believe many of you who are listening to this podcast right now, many of you are suffering that the twin flame is not going out of their head. It's always there. But when you do the energetic work, you connect through meditation, you might start to see that the light is flickering. And it's all the time when you are in that energetic field, especially when you're connecting the heart chakra. Our heart chakra is an engine for generating this connection. And you can also test this with another way of, are you on this twin flame journey? If you start seeing that you're flickering, the lights are flickering when you go to a room. I think I have mentioned this on my previous episodes, but I just mentioned this again. I remember when I had my soul realignment done, and I used to go to fitness, and I loved going to sauna afterwards. And every single time I came to the changing room, the light starts to flicker. And people used to tell me, why you are coming and this light is starting to flicker, you leave, the light is okay. I didn't first pay attention because I didn't know that it has a meaning. Same, I go into the room of sauna, the light starts to flicker or goes completely off. And my sauna partner always told me, what's this with you? It's nobody else. You come in and the light starts to flicker. And I started to notice that, but I wasn't aware that it has a meaning. And of course, as I had changed my frequency in a higher level during the soul realignment, which I didn't know, I was not aware of that. And when I did my soul realignment, all of these things started to happen. And then I met my twin as well, but I wasn't aware of it. I'm going to say that on my Patreon, those who are supporting, you do have a chance to do your own soul realignment. There is a workshop. And once you do this, you let me know. I will send you the 21 days things you have to do for it. But it's a very powerful way of lifting your vibration. It's not something we should do every day or every month. Every once in 5 years, or if you feel you are going out of the alignment, but it's very powerful. So like I said, lights starts to blink or flicker, and if that happened to you, note it down. The second thing is very similar to it, where all of a sudden alarms starts to go off, meaning of you entering somewhere, and let's say you go to the shop, and the alarm starts to go off there. You're trying to go out, again the alarm is going off. Or you're going near some car and the car alarm starts to go off. Or you happen to be in some places where, let's say, the fire, how do you say that? Fire alarm goes off, or even in your own house. It starts to do beep, 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 beep. And it happens to you regularly. Again, a big sign that you have shifted your frequency. And now the frequency that this alarm is picking up is connecting to you, and yours is more powerful. And I'm going to say that there was this other day a very good quote about it, that the fact that we believe in Wi-Fi, that Wi-Fi is on my computer, Wi-Fi is on my phone, and it's all working. But none of us are seeing the Wi-Fi. You can't really see where the Wi-Fi is going into there. But we believe in it because it works. So why your own energy doesn't work the same way? Why do we question that? And that comes down to the self-belief and the doubt. And that's also a big lesson on Twin Flame Journey, to trust what is happening. And in today's episode, you'll also discover of these things and become more aware that, oh, these are not accidents that these are happening to me. So that's one of the things. If you have heard alarms, if you have heard like they go off around you, and also people will look at you like it feels like, this is another thing, it feels like it's on you. Like all of a sudden you enter, something happens, everybody looks at you, and you're like, I don't understand. The next thing is, of course, while we talked about technology and Wi-Fi, is exactly the fact that no longer the technology works in your hands. Whether it's your phone or your computer or TVs or things like this that you're using, and they just starts to freeze all the time. You try to use them or they overheat when you use them. And it has never happened before. And you can have situations such as, let's say, You are calling to someone and your phone is completely hot, even though in your room, in your things, everything is calm. Or you are trying to call to someone and your phone is not letting you to call. Or what else can happen? That your phone itself will call to your twin flame or will send a message that you didn't even plan. That, let's say, your twin is on your social media or something, and let's say you're looking at them, and all of a sudden, you didn't even actually do it, but it went over there. Like it went on this was called to your twin flame or send a message. And then you panic, of course, like, oh my God, what did I do? Now he will know or she will know. Again, it shows energetically that sometimes we are not ready from our mind to accept that journey. We are not ready that we have changed and shifted our frequency into the divine love. And that's why your twin is the biggest gift for you. Remember that every day. Don't go into the mind of thinking they don't love me, they don't come to me, they don't see me, all of this. They're your biggest gift of elevating your frequency. And now, of course, it's your job to keep it up with your frequency. Get into energy work. Meditation, Reiki, Kundalini activation, breath work, yoga, anything that helps you. Don't sit there and wait. Or it can be also, in a technology-wise, can happen that all of a sudden, all of the things in your house starts to break it down. Anything you touch, it's like wire burns out, the bulb is not going on, it's like over and over and over again, and you feel like, how many things are going to break apart? As soon as I go close to it, it's finished. I had many times where in a whole house, we have electricity, except in my room, except in the room where I am. Explain me that. And this has been many times. I have many times calls with some of you where we come on the call, either the electricity disappears, which normally never happens, either the Wi-Fi disappears completely, and this is very normal. When we do energy activations, sometimes when there are very, very powerful energies together, the Zoom, our Wi-Fi cannot handle this. And so we kind of have to take that respectfully. And it doesn't mean that it didn't work for you. It worked for you like magic. But because we don't need. Quantum physics really teaches us there's no time and space. I'm very close to you, even if we are away from each other. I'm making one episode about the quantum physics. And also right now just came up that they discovered that with quantum physics, they can teleport, they can do a lot of things. It's a lot of question of our mind, what we can do. Let the mind quiet and go on. So the next thing, the fourth thing, might start to happen now, you start to have a lot of emotional purgings. And you start crying out of nowhere, crying or laughing, or all of a sudden you just feel like this wave is coming over you and you can't stop crying. Let's say you are in the car, you're driving, and there is nothing that should make you to cry, and you cannot stop crying. It just comes and comes, and it comes like a lot. And you kind of feel that you need to let it out from you. You can't kind of stop it. And this is another thing which I did very wrong during my separation time, so-called separation. We call it separation, but it actually doesn't exist. That when I had a lot of this emotional purging coming from somewhere, feeling like crying, I would cry, but then I need to show up in front of the people and I would put the face on and I would be super happy. Meanwhile, inside of me, I'm just looking and looking and looking like, I need to run from here because I need to cry. I need to let this out of me. And this crying now can come uncontrollably in that sense that your body can start to shake. You can have feelings that you are paralyzed a little bit, like you cannot move yourself and only is coming are tears and tears and tears and tears. Also, that what can happen is that, let's say you're listening to one song you have maybe heard millions of times before and nothing ever happened. And then you hear it on that moment And it just like you feel that this song is talking to you. It's giving you the message. It's there, and you can become very, very emotional. You can have moments where you scream, you cry, you have like a bit of a, like I would say, tantrum, that you don't know what is happening to you. And I just want to say that this is very, very normal, and allow it to happen. It's a form of releasing any blocks that you have, and let it happen. Don't feel guilty or don't feel shame about it, that how can I cry like this? It makes me feel like a weak person, but you can't really control it. And that's the beauty of that beautiful activation you had, the beautiful way of merging energy and activating it for each other through the space of heart to feel this unconditional love. Many of us don't have that opportunity, so you've been very, very blessed. Take this as a blessing. Don't ever take this as a curse, even though it does not feel sometimes. But that's what we learn in non-duality. It's all in oneness. God is life and God is death. God is happiness, God is sadness. God gives, God takes. So everything is in oneness. It doesn't make God better or worse. It's in oneness. And the God, I just refer under universe in that sense of creator universe. However you calling to the source. I just took the word of God right now. Because we have to realize that it's not about what is good and what is bad. It's all in oneness. So let's move from here exactly to the next days after our emotional purging, where we cannot control. And you might even also start saying words or things that you don't know why you're saying it. So the fifth thing that might most probably starts to happen, that you start feeling a lot of physical pain and anxiety in your body. You might feel that there is a very high aware of anxiety. And often what happens over here. So now I'm going to say you were activated the Brahma life force energy through your twin flame. And it's a gift. But that brings anxiety because you will start shaking. You might lose the control of your body sometimes. You might have like a shakiness in your root chakra that you feel in your ovaries or in your lower belly. Might feel it in the upper belly. Also, you might feel like your voice is trembling. You can't really say things. And then in your crown chakra, of course, what can happen is that you have a lot of information and a lot of you're a bit of a psychosis problem. And this is a bit scary. I totally agree with you. And here is, of course, if you can reach out to somewhere to help you to ground. Grounding is very important. Reach out to someone who can help you at this moment, because you're going to really feel like you are going crazy. And a lot of things don't make sense to you anymore. And one of the ways, of course, when we do the activations, we always say, and I would say that one of the ways is to press under your feet with your hand and press in this spot that you will calm down from there. Of course, I know that it can get quite brutal. I'm not going to lie here. It can get very brutal, especially for the highly sensitives, those who have already reached a certain level. It can get very, very brutal. And it happened to me. It was not a nice feeling. I'm not saying that you feel comfortable on this time. I'm not saying you're going to feel normal at this moment. But this is why doing the meditation, doing the connection within yourself and breath work really, really helps you to connect again. And I would say there's two things, and I'm not going to say that you shouldn't seek out for the therapist or psychologist or psychiatric situations, because it can really get brutal. And I'm not lying here. I'm not here going to say that you should suffer under this, but I know that this can happen to me. was very, very scary. I felt I'm losing my mind. But of course, what really, really helped me, I felt that there is an information that is coming. And we have seen people and the activations, Kundalini activations and everything, where they completely lose the control of their body, where they start speaking things that they didn't even know they can speak. And it's just because of the subconscious takes it over. Those who have seen hypnotism, or when someone puts you under hypnosis, when someone puts you under hypnosis, you can't do certain things anymore, or you cannot do certain things because we're tapping into the subconscious. It's not going to last forever. You come back to your normal mind. But I would always say, have yourself the practices in place. But when the crown chakra opens, you will feel you're losing your mind. Because you're losing the controlling mind. And it's not the most pleasant thing, because it can be scary. But this can happen. And I've seen this in that journey. I have seen this. And that's why people say, I feel I'm going crazy. I feel the voices. I feel information is coming to me. I feel that person is next to me. I see it. I feel it. Is that real? How can I hear a person if I've never heard their voice, for example? I had a very interesting, and I am very into the quantum physics, and I read, and there is so much, and also the subconscious mind and hypnosis. It's so interesting. It's just so interesting. And that's also have proven to me over and over and over and over and over again that you are not crazy. So another day I had a person calling me up, and she said she did a quantum meditation healing twice. And she said to me that when she tapped into that quantum field, she saw her twin. And she was very confused of saying, I never thought of twin flames. She has not met yet her twin in a 3D. But when she went there, it was shown to her, all of it over there. And she got very confused. She said, what is this thing? Why I hear that name? Why do I know about this now? What is this thing? Quantum healing and quantum, in a sense of tapping into that field, is a very strong, powerful subconscious field where you get to see the truth. In the future, you'll be able, of course, to tap, even I can guide you through to get in there, to find your truth. We don't get the truth from the mind. Just forget about it today. If you try to solve this with a mind, yes, but you get there through tapping into the subconscious that knows everything, and you need to start trusting it. So she was able to see in a quantum field before it's now happening to her. And I've heard these stories before as well, where you get to see and feel your twin in prior meeting them. Or you know in prior that this is my path, this is what I have to go, but your mind is holding you back. And once you do this, you're realizing why I didn't do this earlier. So just to say that you might start feeling a lot of pains in your body, depending where the blocks are. Whether it's your root chakra, sacral chakra, and also in the sacral chakra, we start feeling an enormous amount of sexual energy. And your periods can change, or you feel very erect as a man all the time, and you can't handle, or you're going to have some problems in your ovaries. All of these kind of things, very much connected. Don't tell me, like when we elevating this energy through our spine, where we use the Kundalini force, your body will start to heal and transform. But it's not the most pleasant feeling. It's not like you go to an operation where they put you under anesthesia. You come out, you might feel still the pain in your body, and you numb it with a painkiller, but you didn't feel the whole process because you were put under a sleep, so-called. But when you now do this energetically, it's not nice. And I mentioned that before as well. You can have problems with your teeth, you can problems with your heart, problems with your throat, you can have problems with your bones. It depends. That's why we also have right now the workshops, which you can do on Patreon anytime, any place, to see what is out of a balance, what is out of the balance in your body. Of course, I would say having a private session and going through that and starting to see, obviously is more powerful because we're starting to focus on it. But you can do the test, you get to know, and you get to work. So, just to say, if you are starting to have extreme amount of things start to happen, it's also connected to it. The next thing is you will no longer sleep. So it's one of the biggest signs that you all of a sudden cannot no longer sleep. You can be exhausted, you can be super tired, you go to bed and you are just not falling asleep, or if you do, for a very little amount of time, and around 2:30, 3 o'clock, you wake up. It's like someone is knocking at you and wakes you up, and from there on, you no longer sleep. You might experience anxiety attacks, you might experience your body is doing weird things, whether it's goes super cold or it goes super hot, or your heart starts to beat in different ways. And I know we can listen to this right now here and thinking like, yeah, well, then we need to go to the doctor. And I would say, of course, absolutely, go to the doctor. The only little problem we have here that they often cannot find anything. They tell you that you're absolutely fine. And also I would say that, but don't take this as a joke. I would really say, don't do what I did. I mean, I know we all have our path and our lessons to learn. But the reason of my podcast is also to warn you that don't do these mistakes I did. I was really holding it back. I tried to control it as much as I can control it. I tried to find logical answers. Why am I feeling so strong towards this person? Why I can't get them out of me? Why do I feel so much love that without having their attention on me, without them talking to me, why it breaks me apart? Why do I feel like I'm going to die if I'm not going to hear from this person or getting an attention from this person? And and the more I was fighting, the more, of course, my body suffered. And maybe, of course, there was a suffering in that sense for a very long time. I didn't live in alignment, and that was a purification, which I totally respect, and I let it happen. But I would also say I tried to control a lot with the mind. I don't know if it would have been happening faster or easier if I would have stepped into a healing work immediately. But I do believe that it would have given me more clear answers. I would have not been so hard on myself. So yeah, your sleep is out of it. And now here we get to the next thing, which I was just saying that I don't know if that would have made a difference, is that the seventh thing is a lot of healers, guides, or people will start to come to your life, even if you don't speak about twin flames, even if you have never ever mentioned it to anyone. You live on your own, you are by yourself, you're trying to make sense of it, but all of a sudden, people and situations will come on your way out of nowhere. They might mention your twin's name out of nowhere. You might have people who are coming to tell you, hey, I have let's say a free Reiki session. Come to my Reiki session. Or I would like to offer for you the sound healing session. And you have no idea. You have never done these things before. And all of a sudden, the guides and spirits and people are coming to your life who are giving you the answers. I know that with some of you even has happened that there is no algorithmical in that sense of finding my podcast. And all of a sudden you hear a clip, what I say. And you have like, wow, oh my God, what is this thing? What she's saying? And I've heard that many times of you saying to me these things. And that's what, now I understand why my soul forced me to do this podcast. And I will keep going it until my soul asks me to do. Whether I have one listener or whether I have 5 listeners or 50 or 500. I don't know. For me, it's like if the soul says I have to do it, I'll do it. And now I understand why. Because we all play a role of opening up something. And I actually want to read something very beautiful for this. So that is from Fragile Feelings, Iris Rose. They say nobody is coming to save you, but many people have saved me, even if they didn't intend it to. It can be as small as smile from a stranger, a nudge from an animal, words from a writer, the lyrics to a song, or an observant friend. We all are saving each other every single day. It's a tiny, seemingly insignificant ways. So I find this very beautifully said, as we think often that we are alone on this journey, we'll not have the help, but your spirit guides, your souls are here to guide you. All you have to do is to open your heart and open your eyes. If you've been called to do something, I've now looked back on this journey and I say, oh my God, thank you for all of the healers who came on my journey when I didn't, in my mind, I wasn't ready for it. All of the people who organized the retreats and I happened to be there. And I'm going to say that I've had millions of excuses not to go and not to do and not to open myself up. But my subconscious already knew, so I didn't really have an option. I thought I had, but I didn't. And all of the people who came to me, that they were there. And now I put actually the 7 together a little bit with an effect that also the animals will start being very different with you. And so if you're starting to notice that animals are coming to you, let's say birds, they stay behind your window. They come and tell you something. They are not there for, animals are very rare when they find a connection with a human. Or the same thing, dogs or cats are coming on you. Like you don't even have an animal, or your own animals start to act differently around you. I've always said that when you have a first call session with me and we do the mini activation, if you have animals around you and I transfer my energy to activate you, you'll see that your animals are starting to react differently. We humans don't have that. We do have, but we're blocking it. Such a strong way of feeling the energy. So we're kind of blocking it. We do feel it, but we're blocking it. But animals don't have that mind so present. So they don't block anything. They trust and they feel. So if these are happening to you or has happened, leave again a comment. Because I'm just going to say, when we collectively share what has happened to us, it opens the eyes of feeling, oh my God, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy at all. This happened to this person, happened to us. And of course, read the comments, leave them. It's so important while we are doing things together. The next thing is that, of course, your body, we talked about it, and your 8th thing that's going to happen is that you're starting to lose a lot of weight. And you can even eat the same things, but all of a sudden your body is just burning a lot more, and you're losing weight like in a rapid scale. And that can also be very scary or you're starting to lose hair. And so you might have that your body reacts now differently. It's very normal. Some people lose 20 or 30 kilos. I think I lost like 12 kilos. I don't know how much it's in a American weight system or pounds. And then that goes also to the next step of you all of a sudden your habits are changed. Your appetite, for example, you used to love drinking coffee and all of a sudden you can't drink coffee. Or you used to be a smoker and all of a sudden you cannot smoke anymore. I had this another day, a story from a beautiful soul. We did an activation. And I think we have done quite a lot of activations. And this is what I love about each one of you. I really, really love about the fact that you come and you do the activations, even when you don't know why. Even when you don't understand, why do I lie down here? What's the point of this? What's going to happen? Actually, so much is going to happen. And of course, sometimes your life is going to fall apart. It's not the best marketing way for me to tell you, yes, you're going to have a different life after this, but you're going to have a life that is aligned with an abundance, with love, with you being you. And that's the beautiful price you're going to pay. And she did an activation and she comes to me and says, do you know that my twin, who has been a smoker for so many years, over 3 decades, quit smoking one day just like that? And I said, yeah, I totally believe in that. Because it's, again, a quantum field, energetic shift, energetic change. We have seen this, where we tap into the subconscious and people stop smoking from one moment, or they no longer drink alcohol, or they no longer have a porn addiction. And these changes are super important in your life. If you are elevating your frequency, I'm going to say again, you have to change what you are doing. But sometimes we cannot. So that's why, again, tapping into subconscious, changing it. For me, I stopped I never smoked in my life, but I stopped drinking alcohol, just like that. I did not, I no longer drink coffee for, I don't know. And I never, it's funny that in my head, I feel like I never have. It's like never existed for me. It's not something I tried to get away from. It just happened. Same with meat. I've repeated this so many times, but so many, like all of a sudden, weird changes that started to happen that I was not in charge of that I would thinking, now I'm going to lose weight. Now I'm going to do this. None of these things. I didn't say of these things, but they happened. So that's a very common thing as well. The next thing is, of course, that you're going to start having a lot of ringing ears. And that's another showing for you that you have elevated your frequency. You have shifted. I had here another day a person after retreat, she wanted to do a channeling and we got together. And she's just like, the ears started to ring a lot. And she said, oh my God, what's happening? It's so much ringing. I said, yeah, it's normal. It's we are going into this next stage, that frequency up here, and your body feels it. And so the ringing in the ears are very common. And you can also have ringing in the ears when you think your twin is thinking of you, or you feel all of these intense energies and you feel that ringing is coming, and it can come out of nowhere. So that's a very common thing as well. If any of you again had it, put it down. So the next thing is from this is that your time starts to be very distorted. So things that, let's say, used to go really fast, or you felt that they are moving in a rapid speed, all of a sudden are super slow and nothing is really happening. Or again, yeah, like I said, going in a rapid speed. So your time is very much like you can't really understand. You feel a little bit like you are in a cloud, or something is like you are not here. And you can have a moment where you feel this kind of a jump inside of you. And that's called actually a quantum jump, where you shifted your timeline now. And like, let's say you're sitting in a car or you are in a restaurant, and all of a sudden, like, let's say you feel there is a jump inside of you. I don't even know how to explain that so well. But it's like you had a moment where You jump from one thing to another, but actually you are still physically in the same spot. But you felt inside of you like the little click, something happened. And then also to add over here that what you can have is a moment of like confusion after this, like a little bit like you're like, what just happened? And also increased deja vus, that you keep on seeing the similar things over and over and over again. And you're like, I've seen this, I know this, and I know what's going to happen. So your intuition, your synchronicities are very much in place. And they can drive you a little bit nuts, especially if you don't see the results in 3D. Because our mind is telling you this is not real, you're going crazy, you are going crazy, look what you're experiencing, you have how do you say that? Hallucinations, yeah, something like that. You're hallucinating, I don't know, something in that realm. And it can really very feel like this. And the deja vu becomes more clear. It can really have like, it's not like a blink of a second. It can be a couple of seconds, minutes. And yeah, so these are the things. And of course, the final thing that is very scary of this journey, what's going to happen, that you're going to feel the fears you never felt before. You're going to experience fears that you didn't even know that existed inside of you. For example, you can have moments where you feel like, I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to be around people. I'm feeling so highly sensitive when I'm around them. I feel what they think. I feel what they are trying to say. And you have a hard time of feeling it. So you want to be more isolated. You want to be by yourself more. Then you can have, of course, a fear of loneliness. This is, you see, again, in oneness. In one hand, you want to be lonely because you are very highly sensitive, but the other way, you feel like, I'm feeling so lonely. I don't know what's happening to me. So a lot of fears, like the fears that are very, very deep and dark, can come out. Here again, I would really, really say, if you can, reach out to someone who understands. And that's why I have set it up, the course, but it doesn't have to be me. The podcast, all of the information I'm putting here is not because you have to talk to me. If you feel like that I could get this off from me, of course, or a therapist. The only thing is, when it comes for the therapist, and it's not because I really respect, I think they do a very hard job. But if a person hasn't experienced something so intense, what I'm afraid of, they put you on the drugs. And yeah, here I have my own perspective of that, which I let everybody to have their own. But I would highly tell you, if you can find someone to talk to, or go to the yoga, go to the sound healing, go to the retreats. If you have these possibilities, do it. If you don't, come the same way. On every other Sunday on Patreon, you can do the energy healing activation. Will help you to calm down, will help you to purge this through. But it's not a linear process. It's not that you're gonna go upwards. It's really a roller coaster as we know it. So these were just the things I wanted to say, that once you are awakened, once you've been activated, once you are who you are, the madness starts to happen. And if any of these things happen to you, tell me in the comments how many of these things you happened, and also if there's anything else that I didn't mention today. It'd be good to put them together. It'd be good to share it with others. It'd be good to give it to the others. And of course, you can email some weird synchronicities, weird things on twinflameawakeningjourney.com, and we discuss it here and we put it out there. So yeah, that was today's episode. I hope it gave you some peace and understanding that it is very intense. And your soul has chosen to awaken this way, and you've been blessed. So yeah, I go through quickly a few things. So twinflameawakeningjourney.com, all of the information is there. If you want to send your stories, if you want to add something, twinflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. And we discuss this on these episodes. Of course, if there is still a place on the retreat, come and join us if your soul is calling you, and if you can do that, again, once in a lifetime experience. And overall, I would say, even if you're not coming on this one, or just put this year money aside. Put every month 50, 100 euros, dollars, whatever you have on a side, that you will go and treat yourself with a retreat of connecting with your higher self. Whether it's Twin Flame retreat, whether it's something else, do it for you. It's the best gift you can ever do for yourself. And same way with activations. If you can, I always say, don't spend money on eating outside or coffee or buying new clothes or buying new bags, or I don't know. Invest in your energy. You will feel peace. You feel connected. Why do we have that? When we go for shopping, we think we're gonna feel so good, and we come back and we still feel empty. Because we need to fix that internally. Shopping is sometimes fun, of course, but also invest in your energy, because that will bring it back to you so much. Love, abundance, connections, life. You're gonna live the life you always desired. Whether you are 15 years old today, 35, 55, or 80. Your time is never too late. So yeah, that was today's episode. TwinFlameAwakeningJourney.com. I see you there. Lots of love, lots of light. And be yourself.
Still, I just can't make it make sense. 'Cause I'll admit I have my doubts. Darling, how do we become strangers? There are answers I can't find. Was there something in your touch that slowly started changing? We were lost before we realized, too afraid to cross the line. You and I, we were slowly breaking. But there are reasons we'll never find out, like how we burned out with no goodbye. Was it in the time or the way we should have tried? We were falling even when we tried to climb. Guess some love's just left behind. Guess some love's just left behind.
I still replay the words we never said. A quiet ache lingers in my mind. Yeah, I trace the moments that I can't forget, but love will slip